Hi there, it's Sally from Rickety Snippets here, and today I'm starting on a mega project. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to build a junk journal from scratch, and I'll be using the new Gold Edition Dragon Junk Journal kit. So I'm going to make the journal itself and then add to it every week and take you through it step by step so you can follow along with me. I'm so excited about this kit. It's taken weeks of work, and I keep waking up in the middle of the night and thinking of more things to add to it. So it's huge, and I honestly can't wait for you to see it, for us to all start working with it. So each week I'll share a new technique from pockets and flip outs and embellishments and fun ways to use a hidden paper clip. And so by the end of it, if you want to follow along, you should have a magical journal. So in this video, I'm going to start right from the beginning by making the junk journal itself. So I'm going to create a cover for the journal, and then I'm going to add in the signatures or the pages. And full disclaimer, there will be some sewing. So these are just a few of the pages from the kit. This is the biggest kit I've ever made. So at the last count, I think there were over 170 or more pages in this gold edition. So I won't show it all to you now, or we will be here all day. But everything that I'll be working on in these videos will be from this kit. I'll give you a little sneak peek of what my desk looked like just before I set up for this video. I'll just bring back some of this stuff that I've been working on, cutting out pockets and fussy cuts and lovely little dragon fussy cuts and flowers and all sorts. Loads and loads. I've got really carried away with pockets, so many pockets. So all of these under here are also pockets. And so I've been cutting them up and making sure that they all fit nicely. Loads of belly bands. And yeah, there's more that I haven't even printed out yet. If you want to follow along using the same kit, there's a link to the Rickety Snippets shop in the description below. But everything I'm going to show you can also be done using papers you already have at home. So you can absolutely make this your own and use any papers and ephemera that you'd like. So let's start. We've got lots of covers to choose from. So lots and lots and lots of dragons, as you might imagine. I really didn't know where to stop. So yeah, loads of dragons. And then we've got some castles, some dragons on castles, and then some more generic pages, but so some flowers. So these could be used as part of your cover. You could perhaps use this as a base for the cover and then stick other images on top if you wanted to, make toppers for your junk journal, or they can be used as inside pages, so inside the cover as a kind of lining for your junk journal. So lots of those to choose from as well. Oh, more dragons at the back hiding. Right. So this one actually I think I'm going to use as an inside cover. I do like that one a lot. And I think I'm going to use the first dragon that we had, this one, as our front cover, and perhaps one of the castles. Okay, so we've got a front cover, a back cover, and I need 2 copies of this for the inside cover. You obviously don't have to have them matching if you don't want to, but I need to print out another one of these, and then I'll cut them all out. So next we have to decide how many pages we want in the journal. So I want quite a few, so we've got some space to work in over the next few weeks. So I've created 4 signatures. So a signature is basically a bundle of papers. And so I have printed 5 double-sided papers for each of these signatures. So that's 20 sides to work on overall, but yeah, just 5 pieces of paper. And so for each one, I print them double-sided and then fold them in half individually, and then take them and stack them inside each other to make a signature. So it's entirely up to you how big or small you want your journal to be. And it really depends on how much you want to put in it and how much you love an alligator mouth, which is where it all kind of splays open, bursts open because there's so much stuff in it. So the signatures themselves, I've put a mixture of dragon pages and some more kind of neutral pages, some pages with flowers and things on, just to kind of balance it out. And we're going to have a lot of dragon ephemera as well. So a lot of that will go on some of these more neutral pages. But I think it is good to have a bit of neutral in a journal. I'm very much a colour person, but it really helps the dragons and the colour pop, I think, if you have some neutrals to balance it out. Yeah, pages in there. Okay, so we've got 4 signatures, so we need a spine that is going to accommodate those. So here I have templates for 1 signature, 2 signatures, 3 signatures, or 4 signatures. So you can choose how big you want your journal to be. If you're using your own papers and you'd like a copy of these spine templates for free, then just write spine in the comments and I'll get back to you with a link where you can download them. So we're going to be using this template, which has the 4 rows of signatures, and this is 2 inches wide, so it'll give us a nice chunky journal. And we need an outside spine to match. So I've got lots of spines again. Again, it's when to stop. But we've got flowery ones and some more kind of fabricy looks, and then some neutral ones as well. Those some with dragons on. And then these quite bold ones. And I think I'm going to use this one, which is 2 inches wide. And so you've got 1.5 inch ones and 2 inch ones. So you just want to make sure you've got the right size to fit your inside spine template. So I need to cut this one out with the 4 holes in it. Okay, we've now got everything we need. So we've got our pages, our cover, and our spine. And we also need this piece, which is going to help us measure where the holes go for our signatures. Before we go any further, I should say that I printed everything for the spine onto a 250 GSM cardstock, and the pages are printed onto 120 GSM paper, which is a fairly thickish paper, and I always opt for a smooth finish, which prints really nicely. So the cover that we're making is going to be a fairly flexible cover, so quite soft, but there are other techniques for making a hard cover. So if you'd like me to show you how to do that, just say so in the comments and I'll make a video to show you how to do that as well. So let's get making. So I'm going to first of all grab my cutting board because we're going to make some score lines and some holes in these pieces. And so I want to score along the lines here, either side of this spine, along the lines here on this one, and along this center line here as well. And once you've made those score lines, you want to just line your ruler up along the line and then pull the side up, pull the side of the paper up and run your finger along the ruler there to give you a nice crisp edge on there, or crisp fold. And then this piece we're going to fold back the other way, like that. So that's your outside spine, this is the inside, and then they should sit nicely together like that. One just fits inside the other. And this piece I'm just going to fold in half. That. And then we need to make some holes in the inside spine and in this piece. So I'm going to grab an awl, which is part of a bookbinder's kit, and I'm just going to make some piercings into the paper first of all, and then I'm going to go back with the awl and just pull the paper up into the awl, so it's just making them a little bit bigger. So we also need to make some holes in the signatures themselves so that we can sew them into the journal. And first thing I'm going to do is to actually clip them together so that they don't move about. So you want to get them really well stacked, and then with the pages slightly folded in together, I'm just going to put a clip there and then a clip on this side as well. And I'm going to do that for each of these signatures. So for the next step, I like to use a big chunky book, a big chunky old book, in case you make any holes in it. So we've got here the complete guide to sewing, which I've only ever used for making holes in my journals. So, and you need this piece, your measuring piece, and you want to fit that right into the fold there in your signature. And then I need another clip, which I'm just going to secure at the top there to hold it in place while we're making the holes. So you need your awl again, and then you're just going to pierce through where the holes or the dots are on that line, and then you can go back and make them a little bit bigger. Again, making sure your fingers are out of the way. I have done myself damage with the awl before. There we are. And then I'm just going to do the same thing again for all of those, the other three signatures. So I'm now going to sew the signatures into the spine, and we just want to make sure everything is one up the right way, and also to decide what order you want your signatures in. So I really like this one, so I'm going to use that as my first page of my journal. So we're going to sew this first signature into the first row of holes here. And we need some bookbinders thread. So you probably could use other threads, but this has got a wax finish on it, so it stops it tangling. And we need a chunky needle as well. And I usually allow about 2 times the length of the spine, plus, well, maybe half again. And that should give us enough to sew in one signature. You can sew in several signatures at the same time, have a longer thread if you want to, but I get in a bit of a mess when I do that. So I think the tension's better as well if you just sew in one at a time. And so we want to start by sewing into the middle hole of that first line. And then I'm going to put a clip on the end there just to stop that, stop us losing that end. And then I'm going to sew into the middle hole in the signature. So from the outside into the inside. And then through the top of the signature and through the top hole in the spine. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, go through the bottom hole and the bottom hole in the signature again. And then finally I'm going to go back down through that middle hole. Oop, need an extra hole there. And when you come up again through the hole, you want to make sure that your thread is on the opposite side to your original thread. So you've got the thread running down the middle and then the two ends either side of it, like that. And then just check to see that there's not too much kind of slack in your threads before you tie it off. So I'm going to make 2 or 3 knots in there just to make it really secure. There we go. And then you do the same for the other signatures. So the next one goes in that next row along. Okay, so that's them all sewn in. I've just cut those ends a little bit. I really enjoy the process of sewing in the signatures, but I know some people are not so keen. So let me know in the comments if you're a fan of the sewing, or whether you'd rather learn about some other techniques to make a journal, which just involve a bit of gluing. So I can always make a video on that if that's something you'd like to see. Okay, so let's create the cover. So we need back on the front here and the spine. So I've designed the pages so there's a little bit of space alongside them so that the spine can sit over the edge like that. But if you prefer to use the whole image, you can always stick the image straight onto the spine like that. So it's entirely up to you. I think this way just slightly protects the edge better. So I think that has a tendency to get a bit knocked if it's that way, but either way will work. So we want them this way round. So the front is on the right and the back is on the left. And I'm going to stick this bit to the front of the spine there. So flip that over, and I'm not going to be shy with the glue. We want to make sure that it's really well covered. So just this flap here, but lots of it, and right up to the edges. I'm just going to flip that over, stick that down, and what you want is for the front there to sit right on the line that up, that, and then making sure that it can still bend. And then we're just going to put some glue on this bit and stick it to this edge. There we are, so the cover. And now we just need to stick this into the cover. So again, I'm going to use a lot of glue. Like that. I'm going to put glue on both sides, so on the spine itself and on this side of the spine, and I'm going to put a lot around these knots to really stick those into place. You could put another piece of card between this piece and this piece to hold down these knots first of all, and it would also make your journal spine thicker and stronger, but I'm just going to stick the two together for the time being. Okay, so that's it. Both sides are nice and gluey, and then I'm going to hold this cover, the side of the cover up like that, and then put the two together. Make sure that's up the right way, and so that it sits really well in that center well there. Take a bit of time to make sure it's really well positioned. Let's really smooth it down. And so I'm going to pull both covers up, make sure it's sitting in there. Yeah, that's looking all right. And then I'm going to run my fingers down between the signatures. Make sure it's really well stuck. That's it. And then I need to glue these flaps down here as well. So lots of glue on those. Them both stuck down, and now we just need the inside covers to go in there. Carve that way up. Okay, so that's our journal base finished. I hope you've enjoyed watching it come together and feel inspired. And I really love a new journal because it's like a lovely new blank canvas ready to be worked into. And next week I'm going to make a double page pocket spread for the first 2 pages of the journal, so across these 2 pages. And I'm going to be using some of the papers and ephemera from the kit. So once that video is up and running, you should see a link to it on your screen so you can watch it next. And I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.